the type of plaque and the thrombus. For that matters, you're going to see two things. One is called as backscatter and another one is called as attenuation. So backscatter means how the light beams are scattered here, like in a haphazard way, and it's going to produce bright scatters. So that's what we call backscatter. If it's a fibrous plaque, the backscatter will be relatively high and the attenuation will be relatively low. So which means it doesn't attenuate the OCT waves, but the backscatter will be very high, which means you will see uniformly bright scattering around the fibrous plaque. But if it's going to be a calcified plaque, here backscatter is going to be low. You can see in the calcium you don't get that much amount of backscatter, and attenuation is also low. So in the sense you can see the edge. If the attenuation is high, means you will not be able to see the edge of the calcium, the distal edge of the calcium. Attenuation is low, that is why you are able to see the distal edge of the calcium, at the same time proximal edge of the calcium also. That makes OCT a gold standard for viewing through calcium and estimating the length of the calcium and the depth of the calcium in the vessel wall. And lipid rich plaques, backscatter will be low, but the attenuation will be very high. Attenuation will be very high, which means you cannot see the edge basically. It's like calcium in IVS. What happens? They produce shadows and you cannot see the distal edge. So this is a lipid rich plaque. You can see the proximal edge, but the distal edge is unknown because the attenuation is very high. You're not able to see the distal edge. So which means OCT can tell you the plaque morphology, whether it's fibrous or calcified or lipid rich. All these things can be found out through OCT, but not through IVS. And at the same time, it can tell you the type of thrombus within the vessel lumen also. So if it's a white thrombus, it will be having a low attenuation. If it's a white thrombus. If it's going to be a red thrombus, because RBC is not conducive to light that much compared to that of the platelets. So red thrombus will be basically having a high attenuation. Clear? So you can see the distal edge is not at all visible because of very high attenuation by a red clot. But white clot made of platelets, you can see the proximal edge as well as the distal edge. Both the edges can be seen very clearly. So that's why we call it as low attenuation. Clear? So which means OCT can tell you the type of thrombus also, plaque morphology, and tell the type of thrombus. Of course, OCT is the gold standard, but to evaluate the plaque burden on the vessel wall, IVS will score.